Hello, I'm Rose Wish, and I'll be reading chapter 2 of the story Son of the Hood. And before we get into this story, if you had any other stories that you would like me to read, please do comment below and I'll ask the authors if they would let me. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say for a quick second. Anyways, on to the story. You're new to Gotham? Haven't seen you around. Danny stabs at his pancakes. They haven't attacked him yet. I guess, sort of. Hood's helmet sits on the table next to the man himself. He still wears a red dino mask, though, his identity kept hidden. Where you from? He asks, then stuffs a syrup drowned pancake piece in his mouth. Danny shrugs. Doesn't matter. Hood hums. Why's that? No one to go back to. I know that feeling. You want to make up a plan, Danny? For what comes next, I mean? Danny chews on his pancakes. Sure, I guess. What are my options? Hood sips his coffee. Well, I'm gonna lay it out for you simple. All the shelters are probably full for the night, and most of the good spots to squat are probably taken by now, too. So your best option's gonna be to let me take you to one of my safe houses. You can get some sleep, wash your clothes if you need to, take a shower, all that stuff. Then in the morning, you'll have more options to work with. Stay a few days, go to the shelter, head out on your own, talk to a social worker. I can help you find family if you have any left, that sort of stuff. Well, Hood seems okay enough right now, so staying the night at his safe houses will probably be fine. After all, Cherry trusted him, and all the employees here at the diner welcomed him with smiles, and the few guests that are around look at him with respect, that sort of thing. That kind of represents that has to be earned. And Danny knows that better than most. Trusting Hood really does seem like his best option right now. As for the other stuff, well, Danny figures he can think about it in the morning after some sleep. Okay, safe house. Tonight, at least. Sound good? What supplies you got in that bag of yours? We'll see if we can add in whatever you might be missing. Danny picks up the small backpack sitting on the booth seat next to him and slides it across the table to Hood. The vigilante casts a peek inside, and the sight has him frowning. Well, you're definitely gonna need more stuff than this, kid. What's this folder for? Birth certificate and stuff. Found it and took it with me. Hood nods to that. Smart move. Never know when you might need it. Mind if I have a look? Danny shrugs. Hood takes it as a permission. He pulls the folder out and opens it to flip through the slim stack of papers. Jason chews on the inside of his cheek. Daniel James Nightingale, 6 fucking years old, born to Madeline and Jack Nightingale. Nothing out of the ordinary with the birth and certificate. Jason moves on and finds medical records. Perfect, this might be useful. The kid's a meta, he notes. Resting heart rate of circa 25 BPM. Average core temperature 93 and 32 Celsius. Sensitive to warmer climates, but thrives in colder temperatures. Interesting. No further meta traits developed so far, not on record at least. Jason will admit he's curious to see what kind of powers the kid might end up displaying once he's grown up a bit more, if any. Based on the available information, Jason can make some educated guesses, but who knows? Weirder things have happened. He skims through the rest of the papers, nothing out of the ordinary. The kid's up to date on all his shots and shit like that. Then tucks the folder back into the bag. What will he be needing then? What can Jason supply? Extra clothes? Definitely. Maybe some extra shoes to be safe. A nice thick blanket. A multi-tool is always good to have. A pocket knife, of course. First aid kit. Can opener. Maybe some stronger water bottles. The reusable kind. Those real durable shits. Lots more food. A few energy bars aren't going to last him long. He could probably do with some money too. Jason won't mind parting with one of his fresh burner phones either. A phone is always good for emergencies. With Jason's number saved in it, of course. Probably the old man's number too. And maybe Dickie Bird's. He'll make sure Danny memorizes the numbers too, in case the phone breaks or he loses it. Across from him, Danny looks about 2 seconds away from passing out, face first into what's left of his hacked up pancakes. Jason snorts. Yeah, he'll remember that, particularly bored of tired. Jason throws down enough bills to cover their check and plenty extra, then slides his helmet on. He takes his jacket off before slinging Danny's backpack over one shoulder. The kid himself is wrapped up in Jason's jacket and scooped up into the vigilante's arms. Damn, he feels like an ice pack. Thank God Danny let him look through his medical record, or Jason would be freaking the fuck out about this random kid somehow ending up hyperthermiac out of nowhere. I'm tired, the boy mumbles, his face all smushed into Jason's shoulder. I know, kiddo. It's okay. Get some rest. I got your back. Danny mumbles something more as Jason exits the diner, and it's frankly completely unintelligible. It only takes half a second before Danny is huffing snores against Jason's neck. Looks like he'll be walking from here. Jason taps his helmet right over where it covers his ear, unmuting the whole peanut gallery. I'm clocking out early, losers, he informs, ignoring whatever the hell it is they're all chattering about. Oracle, run a check on Daniel James Nightingale, 6 years old, and his parents Madeline and Jack Nightingale for me. The kid was wandering around alone, and I'm bringing him to one of my spots till he figures out what he wants to do. Copy that, Hood. Running now. You'll have that information in a minute, Babs replies before gasping with her whole entire chest. Oh my God, Hood, that's adorable. Look at the baby. He's so sleepy. Oh, please, please, please. Let me see Dad, Hood. Steb begs with tearing giggles. Yeah, I want to see too. Dick agrees with a shit-eating grin that's big enough for Jason to fucking hear it. Not to worry, my friends. Check your phones. The whole pack of them shortly dissolve into nothing but gushing over how cute Danny is. Of course, with the obsession of the demon brat and the old man, who doesn't seem to be on this open common line. Jason rolls his eyes. He'll like to return this family and request the new ones. He got a receipt and everything. He called Hood stinky, Bab howls, and is immediately backed by the rest of the hyenas. Jason is exhausted. Fuck, sleeping on the couch. The couch can go jump off a cliff. The piece of shit always puts a kink in his neck. He rolls off the couch with a stretch and a yawn, then drags his ass to the kitchen for the first dose of caffeine for the day. After getting the machine going, he moves quietly over to the bedroom, opening the door just a creak, without a single sound. Danny's still bundled up on the queen size. The kid has burritoed himself up in the covers too. Jason can't resist temptation. He snaps a photo with his phone before silently shutting the door again. If nothing else, he can use it as leverage over Dick and the others. They're all weak for that mushy cute shit. He flips through the documents Babs sent him last night while he shuffles back to the kitchen to get some food started. Danny's history is, for all intents and purposes, as bland as oatmeal. Nothing of any real note. Up until 2 weeks ago when his house went up in electric flames that killed his parents and older sister and 2 friends. In the aftermath, Danny himself was reported missing. He must have bolted when the house went up in flames. His lack of supplies makes sense if that's the case. Scared kid grabbed his bag and some stuff from the kitchen and a folder of documents. He probably heard his parents say were important. Takes off. Sequence of events makes sense, yes, but one glaring question remains. Why did Danny think he needed to run away in the first place? Arson investigators put the fire down as an accident, a short in the wiring. Sparks flew, fire caught, end of story. Why would Danny need to run from that? He is a meta. It is possibility that Danny manifested some kind of power and accidentally started the fire. If he did and it ended up killing 5 people, fuck. No wonder he ran away. If that's the case, he was probably terrified. Jason fires off the documents on the accident to the printer tucked away in the corner of the living room. He'll need to talk to Danny about it, even if it's going to suck like hell for the both of them. If he can convince Danny of the truth that it wasn't his fault, then maybe. Fuck, who knows? Whatever happens after that, Danny needs to know that none of it was his fault, even if it was caused by his meta abilities going wonky for a minute. He's just a kid. Of course it's not his fucking fault. As if summoned by the smell of frying eggs and bacon, Danny scuffles out of the bedroom, looking like he just woke up from a coma. His eyes are all blurry, and his hair is a sleep-touched mess on top of his head, standing out every which way. He rubs at his eyes with the long sleeves of his hoodie, still dressed from yesterday. Jason only took his shoes off before tucking him in after all. Morning, kid. How do you like your egg? Danny grimaces as he drags his heel over the small dining table set up right next to the tiny kitchen. Scrambled, please, and crunchy bacon. Coming right up. Less than 5 minutes later, Jason serves up their plates with milk for Danny and coffee for himself. Danny pokes at his food blindly. Eyes still not quite brave enough to open. Not a morning person then. Jason can't help but smile to himself. Don't want to go to school, Daddy. Danny mumbles through a mouthful of scrambled eggs. Fuck. Why the fuck does it feel like a punch in the gut and a flutter in Jason's chest to hear him say that? Is this fucking hell? Is that how the old man feels every time he finds another poor little orphan in need of a hero? Shit, fuck, fucking fuck. Jason's throat is bone dry. He takes a long swallow of coffee and focuses on the way it burns his tongue. Shit, Dick always said Jason is more like Bruce than he realized. It always made Jason's skin crawl to hear it. Made him want to beat the smirk of that shithead face. Guess Dick was right though, because here Jason is, not even 12 hours after meeting this fucking kid, and he's already itching to sign adoption papers. Fuck, fucking shit, Bruce, that fuck. This is all his fault. Jason's going to punch him in the fucking throat. They can move into the manor, couldn't they? Danny, he probably needs family. He'll need more than a fucking single parent. He needs the whole fucking family tree. And they could help him figure out his meta shit. Duke's a meta. He'll know what's up, and the rest of them will be there to help and support him. Danny does. Jason doesn't want to live in the manor. Not really. All that close proximity makes his teeth clench, but he can't raise a kid while jumping from safe house to safe house every few nights. That can't be good for kids. Fuck, listen to him. Jason fucking Todd, raising a kid, what an absolutely fucking joke. What the fuck? Danny, the boy rubs at his eyes again, then wrenches his lids open. He has to use both hands to lip his glass properly and gulps down some of his milk. Yes, he says as he puts the milk down. It's gonna be a hard talk about, but what happened at your house? It wasn't your fault. Danny blinks his sleepy eyes at Jason. What? Jason clears his throat. Fuck, damn you, Bruce. Why didn't you teach any of them how to have proper conversations about emotions and shit? Your parents and your sister, your friends, the fire, it wasn't your fault. I get that you were probably really scared when it happened and you thought running away was your only option. I get it, but it wasn't your fault. Danny stares at him. You're a kid, Danny. You're only 6. None of it was your fault. It was an electrical fire, kid. There's nothing you could have done. It was an accident. It sucks that it happened and that they're gone, but there's nothing you could have done. You can't blame yourself for that. And electrical fire? Danny nods. I have the report. Fires like that, they gotta be investigated just to make sure people know what happened, what went wrong. If you want, you could read it. He watches the boy's thin little throat bob as he swallows. Danny nods. Jason gets up and collects the paper from the printer. He flips through them quickly, makes sure all the papers are there and printed right, then returns to the table. There he offers the reports to Danny. He accepts the papers and starts reading. His eyes dart across the pages with surprisingly speed. Fast reader? Huh. The more he reads, the sadder his little blue eyes become. Finally, he sets the papers down on the table to the side of his half-eaten food. It was an accident, Jason replies. Danny nods. I know. Can I ask why you ran away? The boy shrugs. I'm alone now. Nothing to stay for. Fuck, I get it, but you don't have to be alone. You could. Jason nearly chokes on his words. He has to stop, clears his throat. You could stay with me if you want. The kid frowns. You want me to stay? That Jason shrugs. Sure, if you wanna. I got a friend that's good with computers. She can push through some paperwork to put me down as your guardian. We'll get you in school and everything. It doesn't even have to be forever if you don't want it to be. It can be for however long you want it to be. Whatever that's a week or the rest of your life, it's all up to you. But you don't have to stay if that's not what you want. If you prefer, I can call a social worker for you. They'll find you a nice foster family or a group home or something like that. It's all your choice. Danny frowns. He glares at his food as he picks at it. Jason gets it. That sort of discussion needs some thought. How about this, Danny? Jason says instead, think it over. You aren't in a hurry to be making decisions. I'm not going to stress you about it. You can take your time instead. You and me can go to the mall and pick up some stuff for you. Just some more clothes and toiletries and that sort of thing. And they'll be yours for you to keep no matter what you choose to do. How's that sound? It takes him a minute, but in the end, Danny nods his agreement. They finish their breakfast in silence. Jason showers and dresses. Danny washes off too. Well, Jason takes care of the dishes. Once he's dressed and ready, Jason offers his hand. You can hold it if you want to, he offers. Danny chews on his lip. He takes Jason's hand. Down on the street, they walk around the block to one of the old beaters Jason keeps, mostly so he can give them away to people he helps ditch the city. It's got a car seat for the kid and everything, though Jason has to dig it out of the trunk first. "My name's Jason," he tells Danny as he starts the car. "If anyone asks while we're out today, I'm your foster parent, okay?" "Okay," Danny repeats. Half an hour later, they wander into one of the good malls in the nicer part of town. If nothing else, Jason can at least stock Danny up with good quality clothes and supplies. Danny hangs off Jason's hand while staring around them at all the stores and people with big eyes. Danny doesn't say much while they shop, instead only responding when asked questions. He gets a face that's easy to read though, which lets Jason learn a few things about him. Danny likes blue and greens, always choosing those colors when offered opinions. He prefers long sleeves to short sleeves. If at all possible, things should be space themed. He nearly glows when Jason offers him an NASA. He nearly glows when Jason finds him a NASA hoodie. When it comes to hero merch, he doesn't really care unless it's the Martian Manhunter or Superman, after Jason informs him that Superman is also an alien. And he doesn't seem to recognize that the Batman symbol or Robin or any of the other losers. Jason's heart does not squeeze tight when Danny makes his first pick on his own, and it turns out to be a Red Hood themed t-shirt after that. Danny also picks a backpack themed after Red Hood, and Jason's eyes do not well up. Nope, not at all. Absolutely not. Never. He has no tear ducts. It's physically impossible. He never cried once in his life. Never. They got Danny a good winter coat and a lighter jacket too, as well as a thick knitted hat and mittens. He gets 3 new pairs of shoes, one of which is a set of winter boots. The toy store is, well, Danny rejects everything Jason suggests, and he doesn't pick anything out for himself either. Jason would be concerned if it wasn't for the fact that Danny brightens up just a little when they reach the stuffed animal section. There, the kid finally shows some interest. To Jason's relief, he only picks out a white teddy bear wearing a space-themed onesie and nothing else. But Jason figures it's a decent enough start. Danny hugs the bear all the way to the register and clings onto Jason's legs. Instead, when he has to hand the bear over, he doesn't relax again until Jason can offer him the teddy bear back. He holds the bear close with one arm and hangs onto Jason's hand with the other. "You like your teddy, huh?" Danny nods. "Have you picked out a name for it? You know, even Teddy's gotta have a name." Danny chews on his lip. Jason has noticed that it seems like a somewhat anxiety habit. "I don't know yet." "That's okay. I'm sure Teddy doesn't mind waiting. It's gonna be just the right name, doesn't it?" The boy nods again. "Wait, what do you mean?" "About what to name him." "Well, he's a space bear, right? With that onesie and all, maybe you can name him after your favorite star." To that, Danny frowns vehemently. LSPMJ1403 plus 4533 is a bad name for a teddy, I think. And to that, Jason has to frown too. That's the name of a star? Danny, however, grins at that question, accidentally skipping in his step for just a second. Yes, it's a white dwarf star, and it was discovered in 2010. and it's famous because it's got the lowest surface temperature of any known white dwarfs. I don't think they're really sure exactly how hot it is, but they say it's somewhere between 1,500 to 200. Restart that. Danny, however, grins at that question, actually skipping in his step for just a second. Yeah, it's a white dwarf star, and it was discovered in 2010, and it's famous because it got the lowest surface temperature of any known white dwarfs. I don't think they're really sure exactly how hot it is, but they say it's somewhere between 1,500 to 2,700 kilos. That's only just hot enough to melt stainless steel, but something like terroristone, forget it, it's way too cold for that. Huh, how about that, actually? Jason takes notes. All it takes to get Danny talking is to ask about space. Good to know. That sounds really cool, Danny. Why is it your favorite? I don't know. I just think it's cool. Like the hottest white dwarf is RxJO 439.8 -6809, and it's 250,000 kilos, but Leps is only a fraction of that, and it's still up there somewhere in space, and it's just, I guess I just like it. Jason has to smile. Damn, that kid sounds downright passionate about that shit. I think it's cool too. What if you name your teddy Kelvin, huh? Then if anyone asks, you can tell them all about that star. How's that? His heart is in his throat when Danny smiles and squeezes the white bear closer. Yeah, I like that. So you like space a lot, huh? Danny nods. I love space. Well, I wanted to be an astronaut, but what, kiddo? Jason gives his hand a light squeeze in hope of reassuring him. I don't know if I can. My condition, you know. The man's brows furrow. What condition? My heart, Danny says softly. I can't be an astronaut if my heart's weird. His heart, right. How could Jason forget when the kid hand feels like a block of ice in his? But why would being a meta stop him from being an astronaut? Jason's no exception, but to his knowledge, even NASA isn't allowed to discriminate against metas like that, as long as the person in question is as healthy as they can be, and the space travel won't negatively affect them. Jason doesn't think there any reason a meta can't be an astronaut. Danny, I think you can be an astronaut if you wanted to. The boy frowns very clearly, showing he doesn't believe Jason. Have you ever heard of the Meta Protection Act? Danny shakes his head. Well, basically, it's a law that says that people like you with the meta gene are just like everyone else, that no one's allowed to discriminate against you just because you're a meta. Do you know what discrimination means? At that, the kid nods. Right. Wouldn't that mean that NASA isn't allowed to say you can't be an astronaut just because of your heart? Obviously, there's a lot of factors in choosing who can be an astronaut, but NASA isn't allowed to not let you try. Do you understand? Danny chews his lips. He stopped. Jason stopped too. Danny looks at him. Big blue eyes lit up with such unerdational hope that Jason physically can't look away. Did he look like that once? Did he look at Bruce like that once? So, I can be an astronaut? I could go to space? Jason kneels down. He squeezes Danny's hand. Of course you can, kiddo. He watches with something skin to it all as the hope in the boy's eyes blossoms into a whole entire dream. Then Danny starts sobbing. Jason thinks he may have gone partially deaf in his left ear after having Danny sob into his shoulder for nearly 10 hours. Jason doesn't think anyone could escape with their hearing intact. He can only be glad the kids exhausted himself and passed out while Jason was hurrying him out of the mall. At least the drive back to his apartment was silent, with Danny asleep in his car seat and clutching Kelvin. He doesn't stir at all. When Jason moves him upstairs and tucks him into bed again after a crying fit like that, Danny earns himself a good nap. It gives Jason plenty of time to remove the tags from all their new purchases, get all the clothes folded and sorted, and rest his head. Redo that one. It gives Jason plenty of time to remove the tags from all his new purchases, get all the clothes folded and sorted, and rest his head with a nice cup of coffee. Jesus. Fingers crossed Danny won't be prone to regular fits like that if he chooses to stay. Jason has no clue how he's supposed to survive it with his hearing unharmed. Then again, as long as the kid is safe, Jason would be alright with sacrificing his poor old ears. Jason? The man sits bolt upright. He jumps off the couch and nearly sprints across the apartment to the bedroom. He breathes a sigh of relief, though, when he finds nothing wrong. Just a sleepy kid, freshly awake from an unplanned nap. Jason scoots over, sitting on the edge of the bed. Danny lays back down from where he, too, was sitting, hugging Kevin tight. Hey, kiddo, have a good nap. The boy nods. Sorry. Jason grins. No worries. I assume those were happy tears. Danny nods. It's been my dream going to space. I thought I couldn't go, but then you said I could if I tried, and I understand emotions are like that sometimes. I guess you gotta let them out. Jason, yeah, Danny. You said I could stay with you if I wanted to. Jason swallows. Yeah, I said that. It's the truth, too. All you have to do is tell me you want to stay, and you'll stay. Easy as that. Danny chews his lip. He squeezes Kelvin. I want to stay. Jason can't breathe. Okay, then, you'll stay. I'll call my friend, and she'll help get it all sorted out. And, well, you don't gotta call me a dad or nothing. Just so you know, you don't ever have to do that unless you decide you want to. I'll never ask that of you, Danny. Thanks, Jason. No problem, Danny. Now you gotta put some of your new clothes on, and we'll put those ones in the laundry. Then we can watch some cartoons. How's that sound? Okay, can I wear the red hood shirt? Jason has to grin like a fucking lunatic. Sure you can, kiddo. Come on. Danny bolts out of the bed with Kevin under his arms, running out of the bedroom, shaking his head to himself. Kids, huh? Jason follows in the living room. The new clothes are neatly sorted on the coffee table. Danny is already sorting through the piles when Jason gets there, and the kid quickly produces the red t-shirt and some blue pants and shorts and socks, both with the space theme. Jason offers to help him change, but Danny insists he can do it on his own, so instead Jason steps back and awaits any possible request for help. When Danny pulls his hoodie off, though, Jason's heart leaps out of his chest. What the fuck? There's a massive scar running all the way up the kid's arm, right from the middle of his palm and up under the short sleeves of his t-shirt. Wild, fractal lines painted in irritation red on his otherwise pale white skin. The only reason Jason didn't notice them before was probably because how they twist down his shoulder and turn into the inside of his arm, shortly below the elbow, and run down the center line of his wrist onto his palm, where they finally team it in a fraction bloom of red with long sleeves, and his hands closed, the scar wouldn't be visible at all. Fuck. That explains why Danny prefers long sleeve shirts, doesn't it? He doesn't want people to stare at his scars. To Jason's horror, though, it gets worse. Danny removes his t-shirt as well, and when he does, Jason can finally see the rest of the scars. They reach down from his shoulder as best to the center of his chest, right over his heart, where the nasty bleach of his palm is mirrored. Whatever the source of those scars is, it must have traveled from his palm straight to his hand. Could that have activated his metadream? Jason knows there are a lot of the cases where the gene is dormant in some way and only activated by some kind of trauma, event, or injury that definitely classifies as a traumatic event. Jason can only assume. He tears his eyes away. Danny hasn't noticed him looking, and Jason refuses to be the one to reform his insecurity. He knows he'll probably need to ask what happened at some point, but that time is not now. It can definitely wait until they get more comfortable with each other, until they have built up some proper trust. Jason removes his own zip-up and tosses it to the side of the couch, putting his own scarred-up arms on display. Scars aren't exactly an uncommon occurrence in their fucked-up little family. The best thing Jason can do is lead by example. He's not ashamed of his scars. He can only hope that Danny will come to in that. Texting part. Jason, Babs, I'm keeping Danny, and if you fight me on it, I'll sell your computer. Can you get the papers sorted? Jason, also don't tell anyone about him. And call an emergency family dinner. I have an idea for a prank on the old man. Babs, oof, who would have thought that you would be the first to take after the old man on his adoption problem? I'll see what I can do. I demand cute photos of the baby before summoning the horde. End of texting part. She drives a hard bargain, but Jason will take it. He sends her the picture from that morning of Danny Burrito. She sends a whole slew of crying emoji and hearts before the family group pings with her summon. Within minutes, the whole horde has agreed to be there. Can I have yogurt for lunch? Danny asks while clambering up onto the couch. And cereal. Oh yeah, they're gonna fuck Bruce up. At 7:15, Danny's son confirmed that everyone has arrived at the manor and are awaiting Jason. Apparently, they're gathered in the main living room, joined for the meeting by Alfred as well. And the wary tension is perfect for Jason's plan. Emergency meeting or emergency family dinner are never good, and no one likes getting called in for them, but Jason thinks they'll be okay with it once they realize why they were called. You remember what to do? Yep. Good. And you're okay with calling me dad once or twice? You don't have to if you don't wanna. It's just to mess with my siblings, and you don't gotta get involved in that unless you're really sure. It's okay, I can try it out. I probably won't keep doing it, but once or twice is okay. Okay, and if you change your mind, I won't be upset, I promise. I know. Right, okay then. Jason opens the manor front door, and Danny follows them inside. It's Jason, he shouts into the massive house as to let the crew know so no one has to catch some hands in the middle of the foyer. In here, Tim shouts back from the direction of the living room, just like Babs informed. Jason hangs up their jackets. Danny bounces next to him as they head down to the living room. Right by the open double doors, he looks to Jason for permission, which Jason gives with a nod. Danny gives a curt nod and grins in return. He takes off running, just as Jason reaches the door and can watch things play out. Danny throws himself at Bruce's leg where he stands by the window. Grandpa! Someone chokes. Bruce fumbles after the window sill to stay on his feet, very quickly turning a nearly sickly gray upon the reminder of his age. Babs has her phone out filming the whole thing. Jason snorts out a hypercladic laugh, grabbing onto the doorframe to keep himself from falling over. Grandpa, Daddy says you're famous. Are you famous? You don't look famous. You look old, like really old. Danny chatters at Bruce, making grabby hands up at him in a please to be picked up and carried. Is this your house? It's a really big house. Why is it so big? Why do you need such a big house? Are those all your kids? How many do you have? Why are there so many kids? Where's their mommy? Is she your wife? Are you married? You don't look married. You look like you fell asleep with your face in the gravel. What happened to your face? Did someone hit you? Did you hit them back? You shouldn't hit people, Grandpa. That's bad. Jesus Christ, does this kid even breathe? Jason hears someone ask, and honestly, he isn't sure if it's typical or not. Seemingly decided he's tired of not being picked up, Danny turns on his toes and runs back to Jason, who easily swipes him up and puts him on his hip. Daddy, he looks like someone threw him against the wall 5 times. That shock silence. The shock silence is broken by Dick, who bursts out laughing. The rest of them are quick to follow his lead like usual, even more so when Bruce has to nearly drag himself to the nearest armchair, where he then collapses into a middle-life crisis. Well, suppose grandchildren do that to a man. And that is the end of chapter 2 of Son of the Hood. This particularly series has 17 parts, and that was just part 1. I'll be doing part 2, which is called Grandson of Bruce, and it has 2 chapters as well. Depending on how long it takes me to read those 2 chapters, I'll either do it as a 1-shot or a 2-shot like I did with the first part. But it just depends how long it took me, because the first chapter of this of part 1 took me about 22 minutes, and right now on this video I'm at 51, soon to be 52 minutes without editing. So yeah, I hope everyone has a good day, night, or wherever you are, and bye.